This is actually quite an interesting panel. The issue of media, the consumption of media has gone so much in our daily lives. Right now, we right from starting from a normal television where we used to take time out to watch television. Today, we almost consume media every other second through WhatsApp or some social media. The unfortunate part is there are very few startups which come in this industry. Right? There is not much money as it is there is glamour in this industry. Right? Including I'm talking about startups in the content space as well. So we have the panelists varied across. Ishta, my colleague, handles policy regulations and she also works on startup space in the media sector. So we have Shankar, who would start out with. Shankar had been a normal ad sales guy. Years ago, we started our careers together. But one fine day, he decided to start probably what is known as India's first advertisement sales outsourcing firm. He became an entrepreneur. Shankar, can you just tell us what has been the journey? Why did you do it? What is the gap you found? And what are the learnings?
Good evening, all. My name is Shankar. I'm a part of a company called 4 Dimension Media Solutions. Thank you, Jay, for the quick introduction. See, I've always been a media sales guy. I've worked for companies like Cartoon Network, CNN, Network 18, Indian Express, and all. So way back in 2011, so when I've also done a lot of, these international rock concerts. So there was a thing in me saying that, I should try and bring all these things together. Hi, Muruga. All these things together. So then, I was, getting bored. Started meeting a lot of people, and then I met my my current boss, Dr. Satya, and this idea was presented way back in 2009, 2010. And there were very few people who understood the concept of media outsourcing. So when this idea was presented, my boss immediately agreed, and thus this company was born. So today we take pride in saying we are one of Asia's largest media outsourcing company. We represent a couple of channels. We do a lot of digital work, and then we do a lot of events and so on and so forth. To answer your question, where there is gain, there is pain. So we did have a lot of initial hiccups, when this concept was taken to media agencies and clients. And a lot of people didn't understand the meaning of media outsourcing. So, in fact, many of our people with whom we were dealing with, they said, so will you be taking multiple salaries from multiple people? We said, no, that's not like that. So we work on commissions. And the whole point is we had to bite our teeth. So this tremendous, people test your patience, as Dr. Malpani was saying, and they really test your patience. And at some point in time, you feel you are actually better off doing a job where you are paid on 30th of every month. But we stood, and today we are almost 80 plus employees present in about 6 cities in India, and doing reasonably well.
It was really a short and crisp answer. Now, the next, let's move to Ravi, a little bit of Ravi, and he handles content at Yup TV. Years ago, when OTT or content aggregation, news aggregation was unheard of, it was just the Amazon Prime and the Netflix days, right? So, Ravi, just tell us your journey in the game of content aggregation. Where did you see the opportunity? What are the first initial obstacles which people in the startup space could learn from here?
So YepTV started like 15 years back. So it was a startup actually in the entertainment space. To be frank, in the OTT space, he had in the game, in terms of Indian market. So we were catering to the international diaspora, wherein all the Indian content, which was not available outside India, was available through YepTV. And it was like kind of a time when Netflix was doing only on demand. We started our journey with live TV channels also, which is much more challenging also because it requires a lot of infrastructure in terms of technology backend also, along with the on-demand content. And then you have how to distribute, the niche segment market. And international market was kind of a where the broadband penetration was very good. So we have unlimited data plans like 15 years back in US market primarily. So we started from journey from there thinking, that Indian diaspora who are traveling across the world, they are not getting the Indian content. I'm talking about all the languages, be it South, Telugu, Tamil, Malayalam, Kannada, all the languages. So that's how the journey started. Then we built it the apps. That time the apps were very new. Samsung Smart TV app, Sony, LG, and kind of at that time. We were far ahead in the game, but it was pre-early also. People are thinking, whether it will really give you ROI immediately when you are building the brand in Samsung kind of TVs. So, of course, the brand has to be built parallelly along with the, the presence, the marketing and all. So at one point of time, we were saying we are among the top 5 downloaded apps globally on Samsung Smart TVs, having only Indian content, not even the mainstream English content with US market and other categories too. So we started journey there, and of course, there are a lot of hiccups. Nobody knows OTT. So when we are going to the broadcaster for the rights and kind of stuff, there are a lot of challenges because nobody understands the concept. It was new. What kind of rights, what legalities and other stuff, what rights they hold, because it was not clearly defined at that stage. So it was like, we started with 2 channels and slowly grown in the different TVs, gaming consoles, we Apple TV and other stuff. And that's how, now it's been like, and we became the market leader in the international space for Indian diaspora. So legally the #1 platform outside India for Indian content right now.
Thank you, Mr. Ravi, for giving very detailed and crucial insights. I would like to ask Mr. Anil Arur, who is the Group COO of Inside Media City. And I am really inspired by the growth of Flowers TV since 2015 and since 2018, 24 News, who came in the market of established player. The players who had a background of media, who knew the nooks and nuances of the industry, but Flowers TV and 24 News really made it space. So how did it break the barriers despite like the other players had the power and the money, all the resources? But Inside Media City had their own challenges, so how did it break the barrier?
Yeah, good evening. Nice question actually. So, my group company is known Inside Media City, but the brand is known as Flowers and 24 in the news sector. We are the last entrant in the market. We also worked with other networks, Nationnet and Manorama when we are there. Now, how we became a success story in India is basically we did a lot of homework. Basically, in news, if you talk about there is no content variety. We have the same chief minister, same opposition leader, same prime minister, same opposition parties. So you can't create news. The news is there. So you have to deliver the news in a different cup of tea. So basically, we approach a system where the news is very informal. Typically, in India, the news is presented in such a way. It is started with BBC and in Doordarshan, where you present it in a very serious manner. Actually, people like to know news in a storytelling way. For that, we use new technologies, which is available in the world. Unfortunately, our competitors didn't approach that technology. We developed the technology, introduced it, and I think people liked it and accepted it. In TV, you need visual. So in visual, you need to represent, you need to narrate the story in a visual way. Otherwise, it becomes a radio. So most of the television networks, I think, become radio, we become visual. That may be the one reason for news. And of course, in the entertainment sector also, we also adapted new technologies, and the programming structure is such a way is that our target group, we are very specific about that. We only develop program for that target group only. So that's actually the success mantra.
I gather that you adopted the blue ocean strategy and brought in technology to break the barrier.
Exactly.
That's really interesting.
A quick question to all three of you. Imagine you're the judges on Shark Tank. You come from the television industry, you come from the advertising, you come from the OTT tech space. What, in your view, would be that one or two problems which somebody here could think of a solution and build up a startup? In few words. Shankar.
See, Jay, we all know the perennial problem what the television industry is facing today. I'm sure me and Anil will be on the same page. So today, while there is no complaint on the current regulator and the rating system in the country today, there needs to be anybody who's here, if they can come up with, see, there are two things when you talk about ratings, when you talk about television measurement systems. One is you have the audience, then you have the sample size. While there are challenges increasing the sample size, that's what we've been given to understand. If there are people, if the industry body accepts something on the qualitative stuff, let's say, for example, if tomorrow somebody comes and pitches to us saying that, there's an app or tool or X or Y or Z, which currently for a population of 132 crore, we're talking about a cable and satellite household reach of just 19 crores. Correct? That's the number what we have today. So while one side there is tremendous potential for television to grow from 19 crores to whatever, but there is no qualitative input which is being given to an advertiser and also given to a broadcaster. So that's the most important thing. I'm sure and confident that if there is somebody who's willing to take that step there and saying that it is as good as close to the current rating system, I'm sure why me, Anil and Ravi, anybody will be able to put money as long as it is endorsed by AAASFI, ISA and IBF and the other bodies. I think that would be my submission.
In our case, this is different. Actually, the scenario is different. We started at the startup company, we grown up. We also helped startup to grow up. A few examples I can tell you in Kerala is that we almost groom startups like 7 to 8 startups in Kerala. One is you very familiar with this 90 Plus, which is a AD app. When they came to us, their download was approximately 50,000, and now it's grown up to 6.5 lakhs. So in a span of around less than 30 months. So another brand which we again building up is MyG. It's an electronic brand. When they came up around the turnover was around 300 CR, and now it's last month it's touched 2,000 CR. So one of another success story is Xylem. It's another JE NEET entrepreneurial company. It's around almost two and a half years old. Now they are around 4,000 students at their campus. So we do build startups in Kerala also. We do give leverage. We give our services. We build brand for them. So that's how we develop the ecosystem in Kerala also.
That's a nice story to hear from Kerala. Ravi, your thoughts? That one or two pain points for you in the aggregation industry, which some startups can think and work upon.
The pain points, there are a couple of pain points. Of course, there are a lot of, but there is a mixed bag. It's kind of a, because there is no fixed cost of the, the product, which is called your content. So there is a lot of disparity among the broadcasters, what cost they are selling and other stuff. And then every content has to be there at one place. See, everybody wants to watch the content at their own convenience at one click. there are right now multiple individual apps. People cannot go to each app and download and then watch and subscribe. It's a painful experience for any end user. So we have to make it UI very user friendly, like at one click, layman can use and watch the content at their own convenience. But right now what is happening is mostly, every app you go separately, subscribe and then come back. So we're trying to address that gap, and we have developed our own app also wherein we have integrated the major broadcasters apps, wherein we are doing B2B also. But here there is a challenge, B2B and B2C both can be done. But B2C, even the biggest broadcaster who have invested huge monies, so they are also trying to go direct. That's where the challenge lies, because there is a lot of conflict among the broadcasters themselves to, who wants to market more their product and what is their differentiation. Because end of the day, it's live, movies, on demand, and new web series. So of course the new content has to come up, but again, content has to be there at one place. And then the monetization aspect come into picture, wherein the kind of bundling services going on right now, where you get all the content at one place. That's where the consumer wants, So there you can have a potential of wherein you can get into a award model for news specifically channels. Because people will not subscribe and buy news channels. You need to get into more reach and also get to monetization on that aspect. But GEC is kind of a thing which is already in the pay bracket. So we have to get into subscription, the hybrid model, wherein the hyper-local content also can be added into that. So I think hyper-local content is where the new startups can come into picture, and district level content can be produced, internet and news channel, I'm specifically talking about. That can be produced and that can be monetized at a later stage. That is where I'm seeing, the hyper-local content is the next thing which can take off.
Thanks, Toby.
So, yes, since we discussed about the gaps which are there, the challenges which are there, the pain points, I would like to know that what advice you would like to give from your journey, from your learning, to the startups who are venturing into the field of multimedia news platform, which has so much potential, which is completely underutilized, and so much power also with money. So what is your advice? What is your take? Starting with Mr. Bala.
I think this has been covered in my last answer, but taking it further, see, if given an option today, so we are a large country with multiple languages and multiple choices in television. So if given an option, if there is somebody who could come up with an idea, basically to track only the news genre, only the movie genre, only the comedy genre, and or if somebody could come up with an idea, we are 5 southern states with 4 languages, and we are treated as 5 different countries. Our likes, dislikes are completely different from the upper half of the Vindhyas. If somebody could come to us and share with us saying that, the model, this is how it looks like. The 4 languages behave differently. And this is basically, that will help advertisers, that will help media practitioners to try and take much informed decisions. Today, most of the decisions taken by media planners and media practitioners is only rating, be it BARC, IRS, RAM, TAM, whatever it is. So, my submission is if somebody should be able to come with that. So currently we are only struggling, it is only hearsay. There is no perfect, a product or a tool, a click of a button which can give us all this. That's my only thing.
You are expecting a roadmap, a structurized process which can lead or guide us in the market.
Not a roadmap, something like which gives me info on genres. Let's say you talk about the 5 southern states. We're talking about close to it has a population of almost about 20-25 crores, and you segregate it. You talk about consumption of news, consumption of movies, consumption of general entertainment, and you segregate it state-wise, SCC-wise. So then what happens is it becomes easy for a planner or a buyer to take an informed decision as to, okay, in a market like Kerala, if Kerala has what, more than 25 districts, and then the way people consume content there, this is how, rather than depending only on one, rating system, which is BARC. So that's my submission.
Mr. Ravi, since you deal with content aggregation,
So the OTT, the advantage here is right now there are no ratings as such, but the data is very accurate. See, in terms of producing the content, what has been watched, what time it has been watched, we get very accurate data, which is not even sample.
No, but you still have ComScore, right?
Yeah, but still digitally it is not tracking complete data as of now.
No, but there is also this product called App Annie. Other than Disney, Hotstar, I don't think anybody else shares data.
No, right. That is right. So as of now, the overall the market right now, the consolidated data is not there. But this will be a very excellent idea if everything gets consolidated, because this is there is no sampling. Actually, you are getting all unique users, repeat users. You're getting actual data. What content is watched also, it will.
Yeah. Currently, in fact, taking a cue from what he's saying, today, as an industry, like his OTT or whatever OTT platforms you have today, there is no one single currency, right? So it's only on hearsay. Like, for example, you take the biggest of player today, whether it's Amazon Prime or Star or whoever it is. So you have to strongly rely only on the data. So nobody is willing to share the data, or people are willing to talk about the subscribers who've been added. Nobody talks about people who've gone away. So the biggest challenge in OTT today is I go to a platform, I consume a film, I like the film, I pay for a month, and I go back. I don't take a subscription for a year. So we also need a powerful tool or any of the startup evangelists here who can consolidate all the OTT data. Like what I'm talking for broadcasting, the same thing could be adapted even for OTT, which we don't have today. We have to rely on multiple people. Today, I don't think Hotstar gives us data. I don't think even ZEE5 gives us. I don't think any of the players today share data with us. And it becomes extremely difficult even for a practitioner. Should I be putting my client's money or not? Okay, now when there is IPL, everybody wants to put money on IPL on OTT platforms. So how is the ad being served? Is the brand or product really taking benefit of that is something which we all don't know. We are just putting money thinking that, okay, IPL is the king of crown, so we all should be a part of it. It comes at a very, very expensive rate. Sorry.
I think that's very correct. The data is not getting done. And also because, the marcation, the price marcation is not there. There is no fixed cost. That is a major bottleneck. Because when terms of, consumer, what he has to pay, it's purely been decided by the big, whoever the producer of the content. I'm talking about the biggest, the Hotstars of the world or Disney's of the world, anybody. Maybe ZEE5 or anyway. So what happens is, the content what they are producing, how they are monetizing, what is their, the workings. It's kind of a very situation where, we don't know. All platforms are not getting the same rates also. So there is no price disparity, which is also a bottleneck in terms of other platforms, other than the 4 or 5 major broadcasters which have deep pockets, to really address that situation. Because when they are getting into the negotiation table, it's a challenging task because everybody will have their own say, and when you don't know what has to be talked about, what they are talking and it means sense or not also, for a new startup, it will take for some time for them to realize whether this price is right or wrong. So by that time, they must have already burnt a lot of monies.
That's true. Anand, do you think aggregating the data through a regulation using machine learning, artificial intelligence, we saw a couple of stalls working on that. Do you think that's the way forward for our industry? Is that a role that one of the startups can play?
No, we are not that much experts to say right now because the world is changing in such a way. Tomorrow we don't know whether even the advertisement sector will remain. I mean, if I want to pay a couple of dollars for my best news portal, I don't want to watch any ads on that. So why should I pay and watch the advertisement? So the advertisement industry itself may be in a dangerous situation right now. Whether I pay for content and I watch it which is authentic. So the people may choose in such a way. So we cannot predict tomorrow what will happen. So all this data, what we are talking right now, tomorrow become very obsolete.
Indeed, we definitely live in a VUCA world. And with the permission of my panelists and my co-moderator, can we open up the panel for questions? Yes, sir. Please identify yourself, your organization, and to whom the question is it all about. Someone pass a mic to him. The two. Yeah, sure.
Hello. Yeah, my name is Rajesh. I'm a retired person. My name is Rajesh. I'm a retired person, a consumer of media. Now, my parents watch TV on the big screen, and my school-going nephews, they watch it on their tabs. Their mother watches it on her mobile. Has the media, this is open to all of you, has the media looked at the behavioral patterns of the consumer of media depending on the instrument that he or she uses to consume your media? Thank you.
I would actually take the lead as NBF. There is a possibility, but as Shankar had mentioned, we don't have the data. So it lies with the tech companies, who's watching, what is being watched, right? In fact, apart from advertising, I personally feel, I've heard from the industry, that we can actually customize that content, right? And your thoughts, Shankar, Anil?
Here the profiling picture comes into picture. You know, when you say, you see in the nowadays the accounts are created, you create 2-3 profiles. So when your kid is watching, you know, if he's below 80 or you want to, you know, stop some content, not him watching all. So you can create different profiles and give him access to that profile. So even if he's watching some other device, he will watching his own profile, and where you are watching, it will not be shown to him. Because otherwise, whatever you have watched in the existing scenario, it will be left over and he can continue if you don't create separate profiles for everyone.
I think your question is different. I got your point. As such, we don't get a very transparent data from the consumers as a whole. But we will get data bits and pieces. It's not in 100%. I'll just elaborate what Shankar earlier said. The current rating system in the country, many people not aware of it. It's called BARC. It's a conglomeration of broadcasters, advertising association, and an entity from government of India. It's controlled by a body, it's an independent body. So they have these meters installed across the country. Right now, that meters is around 60,000 meters are there in the country. So why? Because only 60,000 to judge around 90 crore viewers is a question. Why? Because it is that equipment is very costly. It's more than 2 lakhs. So right now, what you all call all allegations you are hearing, the tampering of the rating system, everything, it is there in the system, I believe. It can be tampered. There are instances there. So the system is not fault-proof. But unfortunately, what happened is that you have only this kind of a data from the market, which is available to the advertisers and the broadcasters. Based on that, the advertisements are scheduled. And basically, it's we target only in around 90 cities in India. So based on that, only around 4,000 to 10,000 crores of advertisement in a year spread across all genres, sports, entertainment, news, and whatever you call it. So but as technology is evolving, new things are happening. Now you can get reverse data. Reverse data means you went from the set-top box, we will be able to get data, which channel you viewed or which digital platform you view back to the sender in the server. From the server, you will get it to the content creators. So that is right now in the process, but it's not in a very scientific way right now, but in a very future way it will happen. So you will get to know who was where, when, and at what target.
My question was, half of them are not watching it on set-top boxes, but on the net, internet. So you need a separate...
internet also is there. Everything. Even it is Google, everything it is there. Say in UAE, last time, they have introduced a new technology. It's in mobile. So once you download that app, they will give some freebies and other for you just downloading the app. So once it is there, it is A-based. Your phone is just to be switched on, not to be active also. So whatever content you watched, heard, be it on internet, YouTube or Hotstar, it may be radio, it may be TV, all information will be gathered in the phone and it will be sent back to the server. So that may be a more wide user data, which is more integrated, what you call authentic also. It is there in UAE. Most probably it will be there in India also, very shortly. Privacy. Yeah, of course, privacy.
Privacy concern is one, and also a lot of new tech laws, the recent Data Privacy Act, right, that might mandate to give out data, or that might even prevent of collecting data. But currently, the big tech companies, which we call as FRANC, which is your Facebook, Amazon, Apple, Netflix, and Google, do have the data. But the issue is we don't get the data. So we actually don't know what to do about that. The next question. Okay, we'll just take 2 questions. She said 1 and 1 bonus. Yeah.
Yeah, so actually the question I had was, it was mentioned that Flower TV and 24 News incorporated new technology to, battle the giants that were there. So, like, if you're starting a new company or a new startup or something like that, like, if you're entering an already competitive market, okay, other than I understood what happens in the media space, like the main company was a bit backward, so you came up with an innovative tech. But suppose you want to penetrate into an already existing market, how would you do it?
You're not talking about media, right?
Not media, in general.
മലയാളിയല്ലേ?
അതെ.
ഓക്കെ, മലയാളത്തിൽ പറയാം. സി ബേസിക്കലി ഞാൻ ഒരുപാട് സ്റ്റാർട്ടപ്പ് കമ്പനികൾ, ഞങ്ങളുടെ സ്റ്റാർട്ടപ്പ് കമ്പനിയാണ്, ഞങ്ങൾ വളർന്നു വരുന്നപ്പോഴും ഞങ്ങൾ ഒരുപാട് സ്റ്റാർട്ടപ്പ് കമ്പനിയെ സഹായിച്ചിട്ടുണ്ട്. പല സ്റ്റാർട്ടപ്പ് കമ്പനികൾക്കും ഉണ്ടാകുന്ന പ്രധാനപ്പെട്ട പ്രശ്നം ഞാനിപ്പോൾ ചോദിച്ചുകൊണ്ട് പറയാമായിരുന്നു. നല്ല ക്വസ്റ്റ്യനാണ്. ഇനഫ് ഹോംവർക്ക് ചെയ്യില്ല. എക്സൈറ്റ്മെൻറ്റ് ഉണ്ടാവും, നമ്മൾ എടുത്ത് ചാടും. ആ എക്സൈറ്റ്മെൻറ്റിൽ ക്യാപിറ്റൽ ആക്ച്വലി ഈസ് നോട്ട് ആൻ ഇഷ്യൂ. നിങ്ങൾക്ക് എല്ലാവരും വിചാരിക്കുക ഫണ്ടാണ് ഇഷ്യൂ. ഫണ്ട് ഈസ് നോട്ട് ആൻ ഇഷ്യൂ. ഫണ്ട് വരും, ഫണ്ടല്ല ഇഷ്യൂ. നിങ്ങൾക്ക് അതിന് കറക്റ്റ് റോഡ് മാപ്പ് വേണം, ലോജിസ്റ്റിക്. ഇപ്പം നമ്മളൊരു പ്രൊഡക്റ്റ് ഇറക്കുന്ന ഒരാൾ, വി ഷുഡ് സ്റ്റഡി ദ മാർക്കറ്റ്. നമ്മൾ മാർക്കറ്റിൽ എവിടെയാണ് ഇത് ആൾക്കാർ ആവശ്യമുണ്ടോ, ആർക്കാണ് ആ ആൾക്കാർ എങ്ങനെയാണ് ഐഡൻറ്റിഫൈ ചെയ്യുക, ദെൻ ഹൗ ഡു യു ഡിസ്ട്രിബ്യൂട്ട് ടു ദാറ്റ്, അതൊരു സിസ്റ്റം ഉണ്ടാവും. ഓക്കെ, ദെൻ നിങ്ങളുടെ USP എന്താണ്? യു ഷുഡ് ബിലീവ് ഇൻ യുവർ USP. ഡെഫിനറ്റ്ലി ഒരു സ്റ്റാർട്ടപ്പിന് ഒരു USPയിൽ ഒരു ബിലീഫ് ഉണ്ടാവും, ഒരു പാഷൻ ഉണ്ടാവും. ബട്ട് ആ പാഷന് ശേഷമുള്ള കാര്യങ്ങളെല്ലാം നമ്മൾ ലോജിക്കലി ചിന്തിക്കണം. അതിനകത്ത് നമ്മൾ ഹാർട്ട് മാറ്റി വയ്ക്കണം. ലെഫ്റ്റ് ബ്രെയിനും റൈറ്റ് ബ്രെയിനും ഒന്നിച്ച് വർക്ക് ചെയ്യണം. ആ ഒന്നിച്ച് വർക്ക് ചെയ്തെങ്കിലേ അത് കറക്റ്റായിട്ട് നമുക്ക് ഓടിക്കാൻ പറ്റുള്ളൂ. അത് പലപ്പോഴും സ്റ്റാർട്ടപ്പുകൾക്ക് പറ്റുന്ന അബദ്ധങ്ങൾ ഞാൻ കാണുന്നത്, ആ പാഷൻ ബിൽഡ് ചെയ്ത് പോകും, അവസാനം റിയാലിറ്റീനോട് അനുക്കുമ്പോഴത്തേക്കും റിയാലിറ്റീനോട് നമുക്ക് മല്ലൂടില്ല. ചെറിയ ഉദാഹരണം ഞാൻ പറഞ്ഞുതരാം. പണ്ട് നമ്മൾ കേട്ടിട്ടുള്ള ഉദാഹരണം, അതായത് പുലിയും മുയലും തമ്മിൽ ഓടി പോകും. മുയലാണ് വിജയിച്ചത്, ഇല്ലേ? നമ്മൾ കേട്ട് കഥ കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ മുയൽ വിജയിക്കാൻ അത് പുലി ചോദിച്ച ഒരു ചോദ്യമുണ്ട്, ഞാൻ ഇത്രയും സ്പീഡിൽ ഓടിയിട്ട് നീയാണ് വിജയിച്ചത്, അതെന്താണ് അതിൻ്റെ കാരണം എന്ന് ചോദിച്ചപ്പം മുയൽ പറഞ്ഞൊരു കാര്യമുള്ളൂ, ഞാൻ ഓടുന്നത് എൻ്റെ ജീവന് വേണ്ടിയിട്ടാണ്, നീ ഓടുന്ന ഒരു ഭക്ഷണത്തിന് വേണ്ടിയിട്ടാണ്. ആ വ്യത്യാസമാണ് സ്റ്റാർട്ടപ്പും മറ്റു ബിസിനസ്സും നമ്മളെ വ്യത്യാസമാണ്. നമുക്ക് വിജയിച്ചേ പറ്റുള്ളൂ. സോ നമ്മൾ മറ്റ് എല്ലാ ഡാറ്റകളും അവൈലബിൾ ആയിട്ടുള്ള എല്ലാ ഡാറ്റകളും നമുക്ക് പഠിച്ച് സിസ്റ്റമാറ്റിക്കായിട്ട് നമ്മൾ അതിനോട് അറ്റാച്ച് ചെയ്യുമ്പോൾ തന്നെ ഡിറ്റാച്ച് ചെയ്ത് തന്നെ ആ ബിസിനസ് നടത്തുകയാണെങ്കിൽ ഡെഫിനറ്റ്ലി അത് സക്സസ് ആവും.
One final last question, and we wrap up with that.
This is to Shankar Bala. Sir, this is about the customized content in OTT platforms. The legacy TV content is said to be a sort of visual chewing gum. How can we diversify the content? Resorting to, just like the another one mentioned, a hyper local content.
It's a very good question. See, currently the challenge is what OTT players are facing today. There is overdose of content. Okay, now what happened pre-COVID, when all of us were sitting at home, we were bombarded with content. Then overnight what happened, people thought people are going to move away from television, print, radio, and they're all going to fall prey to OTT. So they started making content. So then what happened, over a period of time, it's now reached a place of saturation. Okay, now typically what happens as a consumer, when you watch a content, you watch 6, 7, 8 episodes of a racy thriller on OTT. Okay, now what happened, the 8th episode, when that comes to an end, you don't know what that end is. You have to wait for 8 more months for season 2 to come. So now then what happens, do we have the time, patience and all that? So we don't have. So that's one big problem what OTT players are facing today. The second problem is content needs to be regionalized. Like for example, in Kerala, I'm from Tamil Nadu. In Kerala, people use coconut oil for cooking. In Tamil Nadu, we use it for hair. We don't use it for cooking. So nativity of the 5 southern states needs to be taken into account by large OTT players. That's one of the reasons why we strongly advocate, we go and tell OTT players that give us content which we can relate. Okay, don't like we call veshti, don't call it lungi. It's not lungi, it is veshti, it is mundu. So just because you don't know the language, you don't know the nativity, it doesn't mean that, and you put vibhuti in paint. So even today there are large OTT players who don't understand us South Indians. That's one of the reasons why most of the content doesn't go well in OTT. You put a sacred games in Tamil, Telugu, Malayalam and Hindi, but you don't want to produce a content which is localized. So what you were saying, hyper-local, completely we all agree. We need to get an inch beyond being even local. If that is not there, I don't think, then we'll only keep talking in these forums, growth of OTT and all that. If it has to happen, you'll have to get even more regionalized.
With that note, I would conclude we actually ran out of time, but we are available post this. Thanks Shankar, Anil, Ravi and my colleague Ishita for the wonderful panel. Thank you.
Thank you.